It should have just said, hey dummy, close your door. That's why you got to use your brain and correlate the issues that you see and don't just take this stuff at face value. So the other day I got a check engine light in the 4C here and the little transmission not available thing came up and it wouldn't let me shift into gear. That was really scary, but I was able to turn the car off and back on and was able to drive home and everything, but it still had the check engine light on. So we're gonna find out if the MUCAR here can actually see what's wrong. And I'm pretty sure I know what caused it, but I'll get into that in a minute. Let's see if the scan tool can actually identify it. All right, we're gonna automatically search. It did identify the car correctly, so that's good. All right, it found 5 DTCs. CAN signal incorrect after the event. And here we have what probably caused the transmission issues. Hydraulic pump stuck off, and then the door switch performance. And we have a TPMS error because, you know, there's no TPMS in the valve stems in these tires. And that's interesting, a general electrical failure. Well, let's go ahead and save the report. That way we can come back and look at that later. But I'm curious to see what MUAI will have to say about this. All right, so common symptoms include the vehicle not shifting properly, transmission slipping, or the check engine light being on. And we did see it not wanting to shift and the check engine light being on. That's kind of interesting. There's no case references here, probably because the 4C is pretty unique and there's just no cases available or whatnot. But let's go through the guidance here. So just going step by step, it wants us to check the wiring connectors related to the transmission control module for any signs of damage or corrosion. That actually is a thing in these cars because the TCM is kind of exposed back there. They call it the smart drive unit. It's near the battery and yeah, it's not exactly weatherproofed very well in these cars. So that can be a thing. Circuit system tests. Use a diagnostic scanner to test the transmission control module's functionality and check for any communication errors. Oh yeah, we could see if we can actuate the pump manually. That'd be good to see. Component test, inspect the transmission control module and related sensors for any physical damage or malfunction. And then the maintenance guide is just going to be kind of a list of other things to check. Start by inspecting the wiring connectors for visible damage. Use the diagnostic scanner. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's just for this one code. I wonder if it's going to tell us something different for the door switch. It'd be kind of nice if it took all of these into consideration, right? Because these codes don't happen individually, unrelated to each other. You know what I mean? But we'll see what MUAI has to say about that door switch code. Did I click on the right thing? Because this thing says it's the fault code indicates a problem with the fuel pressure sensor. That's not what I clicked on. Let's go back. See, look, P125D is door switch performance. Let's go back into MUAI again. Okay, well, MUAI is definitely confused. This code doesn't have anything to do with the fuel pressure sensor. It's for the door. Okay, so yeah, this is not helpful in the slightest. I am curious to see what it says about this one up here for the CAN bus. Okay, so that's interesting. This one is saying it's related to the airbag system. That's not what the other description we had was. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's helpful either. See, this says it's about the vehicle dynamic system module. How can it have the correct descriptions here but not in the MUAI? I think that's something they need to look into because it'd be pretty bad to lead, you know, someone down the wrong path with the AI thingy. I'm curious what it's going to say about this. I'm curious what it's going to say about this instrument panel one too. No information available. Okay, well there you go. Well, let's go take a look at these special functions and we'll scan the system here. It's going through and finding all the modules that are equipped, so that's good. Okay, let's scroll through here. So it looks like we can actually activate the hydraulic pump for the transmission, which is related to that error that we saw. So let's go ahead and just give that a go, I guess. You know what I wish it could do is I wish that we could actually pull up the live data before going in and activating it. That way we could actually see, you know, like the pump turn on and like the pressure or whatnot, but I don't know. Let's just go ahead and click continue, I guess. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the pump is definitely on back there. Was the test successful? Yes, it was. We do know that the pump is working, so it's not a problem with the pump operation. But if you guys are curious, we can just scroll through here and just take a quick look at all the special functions that it has in here. You know, just see everything that's not necessarily related to the codes that we got, but just want to see what all it has. It's nice that it has the gearbox oil thingy in there. Oh yeah, steering angle calibration, that's good. Yeah, it does the oil change because that's kind of a pain in the ass in these cars. But yeah, okay, well that's good to know. We'll take a quick look at the common special functions. Yeah, it has your oil reset and your gearbox relearn, transport mode. Yeah, all good stuff. I'm going to hit the little arrow here to actually go into the module. We can take a look at the fault codes in here. Huh, that's kind of interesting. The freeze frame is grayed out. That kind of stinks. I would have hoped that there would have been freeze frame data with that. It's a good thing I already have a good idea of what caused it, because otherwise we're not really getting very good information just from scanning, right? It is kind of nice that we can go straight to the data stream from that little DTC screen though. We can go through and look and see what all we have available. We can take a look at counter of pump activations, see if we can find pressure. There you go, hydraulic circuit pressure. Let's see if we can find the door switch in here. Interesting. It doesn't actually show door switch. Well, okay, looks like we still have the same thing selected, so let's hit OK. All right, we're currently at 30,816 pump activations. That seems kind of crazy that it's been activated that many times, but okay. And then here you can see the actual pressure. And the reason why the pump has to activate periodically is that you can see the pressure slowly bleeds down. And this is the hydraulic pressure that actually lets the car shift the transmission. Maybe we should switch the graph view here. All right, cool. Our orange bar here is our pressure, and you can see it's like slowly going down there. Ah, check that out. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but the pump actually came on. Like once the pressure gets to below a certain amount. And I kind of missed what that pressure was, so it's a good thing we were actually filming while this was going. But as you can see, the counter light went up one too. But yeah, that was cool to see. I'll get into what I think caused the issue here in just a second, but I want to see how the MUCAR stacks up to multi-ECU scan, which I think this is probably the best tool for these cars, Fiats and Alfas particularly. And what's great is it's only a $50 piece of software. Okay, I've got the MUCAR's report pulled up so we can compare it to what we see in multi-ECU scan over here. So let's just go ahead and connect to the gearbox and let's take a look at the errors. Yeah, see, it instantly found the same issues, so that's good. But what's kind of interesting is that it actually provides more help information down here. See, this box over here is actually the freeze frame data, and we were missing the freeze frame data over here, so that's kind of interesting that the multi-ECU scan could find it. And here it gives us like a really good description. It says the fault is intermittent, clear the codes and observe for it to come back or not. And you can also see over here on the freeze frame data that the engine speed was 1068 RPM, so this code actually set probably right when I started the car. And if you take a look at the driver's door code, the driver's door was set when the engine speed was at 0 RPM. So let me go ahead and explain what actually caused this fault. And it's something that all you 4C owners should be aware of. As most of you guys know, whenever you initially open up the driver's side door, it'll activate the pump if the pressure is below, whatever it needs for it to actually run the transmission. In other words, whenever the car's been off for a while and you go to start it up, you'll open up the driver's side door, it'll prime the pump, and then you'll be able to start the car and take off. Well, what I had done was that I had opened up the driver's side door and I left it open for an extended period of time. I had just walked away and was like doing some other things. So by the time I got back to the car and turned the key on, the hydraulic pressure had already dropped below where it's needed for it to activate the transmission. And since the door was being held open, it couldn't see that it needed to turn on the pump. And it's interesting to point out that I really only know that to be the case just because I'm familiar with how the car operates. These scan tools, even when they have built-in AI, they're not necessarily going to be able to tell you exactly what your issue is. In fact, we can go through the AI analysis here of the report. It's still like trying to take these two issues as if they were independent of each other, telling you to do things to check the pump and the hydraulics, and then also checking to see if there's a problem with the door switch. It's not putting two and two together that these two are related. And instead of telling you to do all these different troubleshooting steps, it should have just said, hey dummy, close your door. That's why you got to use your brain and correlate the issues that you see, and don't just take this stuff at face value. But yeah, so there you go. I'm just going to go ahead and clear these errors. And since these errors aren't active, they went ahead and cleared out and didn't immediately come back. So hopefully the check engine light will go out after the next drive cycle. Well, that's all there is to this one. I still think the MUCAR is pretty impressive little scan tool. But yeah, you guys just got to remember to use your brain and when you're figuring out these issues. I hope you all found this helpful. Well, bye. Thanks for watching. All right, I got the MUCAR hooked back up because I just wanted to check to see if there's something in here that's kind of critical for these cars. I'm going to go into the BCM and I'm going to go to special functions, miscellaneous functions, I guess. And yeah, okay, nice. It has the proxy alignment procedure. That's actually really great that this thing has that. So, okay, color me impressed. The MUCAR is actually a pretty useful little tool. And I tell you what's actually nice about these scan tools over something like multi-ECU scan is if I were to try to connect to the body control module, multi-ECU scan actually actually requires a different adapter. You have to plug this little yellow adapter into your OBD cable. But these guys, you know, they just do that automatically. But hey, you know, multi-ECU scan's only 50 bucks, and this thing's like, what, almost $700? So yeah, there you go.